Hello survivors! Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 2 in our ongoing series where we break down Tempest Arms in State of Survival, how they work, their synergies and which heroes or march styles benefit the most. In the first episode I was really enthusiastic about Rejuvenating Spring and Salvation, calling them the best options for infantry heroes because of their defensive value. But today I want to surprise you a little bit. Despite recommending those defense Tempest Arms earlier, on my main march, which is built around control style heroes, I don't actually use either of them. Instead, I run with an offensive option, Mark of Insight, Control. Now, you might be wondering, why would I go against my own advice and put an offensive Tempest Arm on an infantry focused control squad?
Answer me!
The answer is synergy. And by the end of this video, you will see why Mark of Insight is not just a viable choice, but actually a powerful one paired with a control style heroes. Let's start with the basics. My Mark of Insight Control is currently at level 3. It's not easy to get level 4, it's very rare. Even in what many might call an unfortunate pairing, control heroes in infantry squads, these Tempest Arms stand out. Why? Because it's unapologetically offensive. And yes, that might sound like it goes completely against the philosophy I laid out in episode 1, where infantry heroes benefits most from defensive arms. So what exactly does Mark of Insight Control do? Let's break it down. At level 4, its effects are as follows. Each base attack grants 1 stack of Mark of Insight, which increases the next skill damage by 6%. These stacks accumulate, but they reset to 0 as soon as a skill is released. The second, for every 4 base attacks, the skill damage increases by 3.4% until the end of the battle. So the longer the fight goes on, the more pressure this Tempest Arm adds. And the third, and here's the kicker, when equipped on a control squad heroes, every 5 times Mark of Insight is gained, a random enemy squad is affected by control exposure. That debuff increases the damage they take from control style squads by 4%, and it stacks, and it lasts until the end of the battle. That's a lot of value packed into one Tempest Arm. Yes, it's offensive, but the synergy with control squads is incredible. You are not just boosting your own damage, you are also making the enemy take more punishment from your control heroes across the board. Now, why is this special? Because it transforms control heroes from being just disruptive into being legitimate damage dealers. Typically, control heroes are seen as specialists. They interfere with an enemy rhythm, disrupt abilities and provide utility. But with Mark of Insight Control, every single base attack is contributing not only to their own damage output, but also to weakening the opponent's resistance against your whole control march. Think of it this way. Every 5 stacks of Mark of Insight is essentially softening up one enemy squad for your team, and this effect doesn't go away. Over time, control exposure builds up, and suddenly the opponent is getting shredded by the very march style that's usually associated with disruption rather than raw damage. That is why I consider Mark of Insight Control a knight in shining armor for control style synergy. On its own, it might not look like the best fit for infantry, but in your main march relies heavily on control heroes. It's almost like the Tempest Arm was designed with the strategy in mind. It's also worth pointing out that Mark of Insight follows a design we have seen before in earlier generation, especially with Mark of Strength and Mark of Fury, which were staples for Berserk heroes. The core concept is the same, scaling offensive pressure through repeated attacks. What's different now is that each march style, Resilience, Control and Berserk, get its own dedicated version of Mark of Insight. That makes it far more versatile, and in my case it turned out to be a perfect weapon for my control lineup. Of course, there are trade-offs. If you are a player who prefers pure infantry survivability, then yes, Rejuvenating Spring and Salvation still hold the crown. They provide sustainability, healing and durability, which are incredibly important in prolonged fights. But if your march composition leans heavily into control heroes, then Mark of Insight doesn't just make sense, it elevates into entire strategy. That's why I choose it for my main march. Even though it's costly to level, even though it doesn't align with the traditional defensive infantry mindset, the synergy it provides for control squad is unmatched. For me, it's absolutely worth the investment. So to wrap it all up, Mark of Insight Control is an offensive Tempest Arm that transforms control style squads into not just disruptors but actually threats on the battlefield. Its stacking damage boosts, combined with unique control exposure debuff, give it long-term value throughout any battle. And if you are running a control heavy march, this is an arm you should seriously consider. And that's going to do it for the episode 2 of our Tempest Arm series. Thanks so much for watching, survivors. If you enjoyed this breakdown or learned something new, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment sharing your own experiences with Tempest Arms, and of course subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming episodes. We have got a lot more to cover and I promise it's going to be worth your time. Until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and I will see you on the battlefield.